right, welcome in and a very happy Tuesday to you now. July the 7th, it's in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish as we are getting ready for more 16 action here in the World Cup after it didn't go all that well for Team USA last night, but Argentina and Egypt looking to punch their tickets here, or at least one of them looking to punch their ticket. That'll be your first game up today. Next game will be Colombia and Switzerland, but Argentina, big favorite in this one. And Craig, back at it again here in the early start, but I would imagine with Argentina being this kind of favorite, Messi can't be that far behind in some markets as well, my friend.
Great to be with you once again, Joe. But wait a second, the World Cup is still going on? I thought it ended last night with Team USA losing. I thought this was a baseball show we're doing today. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I mean, look, I think, unfortunately, for the large portion, Joe, of Americans here in the United States, the World Cup did end last night for a lot of folks. Certainly ratings around the world are still going to be the best ever, and the streaming numbers are going to be the best ever, but Americans simply have not gravitated to soccer, no matter how hard we've tried through the years, and Team USA getting knocked out, I think that's what that means. But for us, of course, the show goes on, and certainly we got a good matchup today, as you mentioned, with Argentina being the biggest favorite, it looks like, in this round coming up against Egypt, and, certainly being minus 900. And you mentioned Messi, and Messi seems to score every game he plays in. It's because he scores every game and every match that he plays in. He scored once last match. He almost scored twice. It was in the first half, if I'm not mistaken, of the last match that Argentina played. So Egypt certainly will have their work cut out for him. But as we saw yesterday in the afternoon with Spain, it took them essentially 90 minutes to get their first goal of the game as teams sort of feel themselves out. But by the way, you were spot on last night in saying that you thought a lot of goals would come in the first half. But I don't think that we thought a lot of goals would be coming Belgium's way. It was just an unmitigated disaster for Team USA last night.
Yeah, I was hoping for 1-1, but we got that quickly, and then the wheels fell off from there, though. Not a great showing by Team US, but we do, of course, have, listen, the World Cup goes on here, and we're about 1 minute in, and I believe we got all sorts of people laying on the ground already for Argentina, as Egypt being a little physical early on here. This is a matchup of two different styles, right? You've got Argentina that loves to control possession. They're averaging actually over 60% possession in the World Cup. They're going to control the tempo here. Egypt, they tend to cede possession against certainly better teams, stronger opponents. They only average about 44% of the ball in their possession. So they are a big underdog here, and you and I have seen enough of these matches now to know that more time of possession, that usually means more opportunities, especially as the favorites control the tempo. It just means that Messi and company likely going to have more opportunities to make it count. Not saying that Egypt can't score. We know they likely will score here, but it's those that control the tempo likely control the scoring opportunities as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I think that, certainly you can't rule out Argentina not scoring, though, because, again, it still requires to put the ball in the goal, which Spain could not do yesterday, which Team USA could not do yesterday. So even though a handicap could be correct or a narrative could be correct for a match, it doesn't always seem to work out that way. But you're right. I do think Argentina will have more shots on goal than Egypt. I don't think it'll be particularly close. I do think Messi will score in this match as well. I don't know if anybody else will, but I was blown away with the lack of scoring in the first game we did yesterday. And then I turn on Team USA, and within 5 minutes, Belgium has a goal. Within 10 minutes, it was tied at 1, as you said. So, look, this afternoon, the game is in Atlanta. It seems like there's a lot of fans from Argentina there. I think a 60-40 or 70-30 split. Of course, a lot of folks from Egypt there as well, so not a really true home field advantage. But naturally, when you have the best all-time in Messi, who's still playing at a very high level, he is the player to keep an eye on today, without a doubt. His odds, how many times he scores. He's certainly been amazing in this World Cup for the Golden Boot. It is him, Mbappe, and Erling Haaland each having 7 goals. And I think if Messi wants to win the Golden Boot, Joe, probably has to score today and win, obviously, but probably has to score today, I would say, because Erling Haaland is on some sort of heater right now. And I think he's probably not going to be done, I would guess, in the next match.
Yeah, it's the first time. It's very odd. I mean, usually there's always one guy that is just heads and tails at this point in the World Cup, certainly leading from a goal-scoring perspective, but to have 3 guys up at the top of this list, and let's not forget, I mean, Harry Kane is not that far removed from there. I think he's got 5 or 6 also. So there is a lot still to be decided with the Golden Boot on who is going to score the most goals. And boy, oh boy, this will be something else if Messi can find the back of the net once again. But we haven't had a whole lot of action in and around the nets here in the first 4 or 5 minutes. Still 0-0, no shots on goal at this point. But Argentina, I mean, they are coming off playing a whole lot, did they not? I mean, Capo Verde there, 3-2 in extra time, after extra time, and extra time. Yeah. And it felt like that game went on forever. Meanwhile, you had Egypt, right, overcame Australia on penalty kicks. So the winner of today's match is going to face either Switzerland or Colombia. That's going to be in the next round. And, of course, that game is coming up a little bit later. And then England or Norway is waiting beyond that. So it's really starting to take shape here. And if you're starting to look big picture, you know, I don't know that I'm just penciling France in like the market is, because France is going to be tested here, I think, with Morocco. And I think, let's face it, if it is Spain, my goodness, that could be a better semifinal than we get in the final with Spain and France if it turns out being that way. So there is, I think there's a reason why they're only about 30 or 35 cents, I think, in the predictive markets to actually win it all. There is no easy ride from here on out for any of these teams once they advance.
Absolutely. And, Spain seems to be playing a little bit of a charmed life, I think, in the World Cup. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're a team or country of destiny, but it seems like they're just, they keep winning in weird ways. And so I'm going to keep backing them probably throughout. The other dynamic of this World Cup that certainly changes, and I don't know how you feel about it, for better or for worse, and we certainly have had a ton of fun, Joe, doing these noon affairs, but this is the last one, I believe, the last noon World Cup match. There are a couple of weekend 2s and 3s and 5 p.m. Eastern, but for most people around the country, especially who are watching on the West Coast, who are working, they're going to have an opportunity, I would say, to tune into most of the matches. I'm sort of sad to see the noon time go away. I liked waking up, prepping, and doing these, but I believe this is the last one today, if I'm not mistaken.
This will be the earliest, the last early one that we get here for sure, because after this, it's put up or shut up time, and just not enough matches to warrant the early starts anymore. They will all be in some form of prime time coming up. But even a little bit later, 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when we'll have Colombia taking on Switzerland, which I happen to think is going to be maybe one of the more higher scoring games as well. So I do think goals are coming for Switzerland and Colombia. We'll break that game down a little bit later. But as of right now, 8 minutes in, still no score with Argentina and Egypt. However, you've got us keeping an eye on all of it for you. We'll keep you posted as in-game live game day continues on the grid.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too, but yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. You know, Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen, too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise, too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and, well, it's not exactly been the kind of soaring start that we had hoped we would get for here with Argentina and Egypt, but we are a little over 11 minutes in. Both teams pretty scrappy to this point here. Not a whole lot to report. Still no shots on target, no shots, really. We've had a possession of what you would come to figure here, Craig, 58% to 46% at this point. We've had the fouls have only been committed by Argentina. Other than that, it's been clear sailing here. Both teams, it looks like being very cautious early on here, which you and I have become very accustomed to before
Yes.
the first hydration break these days.
Yeah, I know Belgium did score quickly last night, but generally most of the matches, if you just closed your eyes and bet the under first 10 minutes, either team to score, no came in, I would say, at least 70% of the time, if not more. And so you're right, probably even by the hydration break as well. I did think that Argentina, while we were in the break, had a pretty good opportunity on a corner. It did seem like the ball did slip by a couple of defenders, but the striker could not get it to go in the goal. So as it stands, as you said right now, we're 12 minutes in, no score between Argentina and Egypt. And this is the way, obviously, Egypt wants to play this game. They'd like to have it as low scoring and as dull as possible and hope that Argentina at some point makes a mistake. But Argentina, unlike Spain, unlike Belgium, I don't think going to be quite as aggressive. They're just going to wait for that opportunity to open up. You'll see Messi surging down the field, and whether he scores or not, it remains to be seen. But I feel like that's how we probably get our first goal of the game.
Yeah, we're seeing right now 2.5 to the under in-game total-wise, even a 2 popping up. Minus 250, 255, somewhere in that ballpark still for Argentina as the big favorite here. But we all know, listen, when you've gotten these favorites in this price point, like the Argentina team is, give it to that first, hydration break about the 24, 25-minute mark. If there's no scoring, you'll begin to start to see that number come down. I mean, we saw it with Spain yesterday. We were able to take them at a ridiculous price. I mean, they were as high as a $5, almost $6 favorite, and we were able to get them at just about even money in the second half. So The live betting opportunities have certainly been there in the markets with a lot of these games that it just, let's face it, takes a while for a team to take advantage of an opportunity.
And penalties, obviously, could be a part of this. It does seem like the refs are blowing the whistle a little bit more in this one than I've seen in previous matches. They just called the whistle out of nowhere. They didn't pull a yellow card, but they called a whistle and possession change out of nowhere. And nobody on Argentina even touched the player on Egypt. So they got to make sure that they're doing a good job here. For the most part, I thought the whistles were pretty fair, on both sides last night. Same thing with the match that we saw yesterday with Spain, and we'll see if they play a factor at all here. I know that FIFA does not want that to be the case, and certainly with all the controversy surrounding the red card and Team USA, we want that to go away as well and just get some good matches here. But as we stand, more than 14 minutes in, not a lot of activity. But, Joe, that's kind of, what most, the prognosticators sort of expected. But here we go. It looks like we got our first shot here.
Yeah. Yeah, and a goal as Egypt has got on the board first and quickly. So we got a 1-0. Yasser Ibrahim has put Egypt in front. What a great the whole setup was great here. And I got to tell you, watching Argentina, feeling like maybe a little bit half step slower, and maybe Cape Verde left their mark here. Maybe they didn't win that war, but maybe they took enough out of Argentina to give Egypt a puncher shot here, because that looks like exactly what we've got, a puncher shot here with Egypt up in front 1-0.
Yeah, and that header, it seems like the goaltender on the side of Argentina was a little bit confused as to who actually headed the ball, Joe. Like, wasn't it a little weird? He didn't really go for it. I think he thought maybe his own player was going to protect him, but he didn't. And you rarely see this, but did the goaltender not move, Joe? Was he just standing in his tracks?
What? The goal at that point, though, you're guessing, right? He guessed wrong because you don't know where that ball is coming off of the head. The fact that the Egyptian player had position on the Argentinian player, he was in front of them facing the ball. That's a scary proposition because you just don't know how that ball is going to come off. His eyes were on the two guys in front of him. He was hoping maybe it would be more of a direct shot, but it was a great header, and it happened to go to the right side in the corner. He was never going to be there to begin with, but again, that's why these set pieces are so interesting with these corner kicks, Greg, because it's about gaining position. It's about being in a position to get the header like that. And if you're a defender for Argentina, you can't let the guy position himself in front of your goalie like that. So, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And Egypt strikes first. And now we're looking at what? Argentina even money here, Greg? I mean, I believe even FanDuel would have to adjust this at this point, no?
No, Argentina minus 234 to advance still in this match. And I mean, it just goes to show you that the odds makers are telling us without a doubt that Argentina is going to score. So I don't know, Joe. I'm with you, man. Feels like you go up 1-0. The odds should be adjusted a little bit more, but Argentina, I guess, the much better team. Remember, pre-start of this, Argentina was minus 900, minus 1,000 almost, and now down to minus 234. So they're still telling us that Argentina should come back and win, but we'll see.
We'll see. Regulation right now, even money for Argentina, and the goal is back up now. 3.5 even posted in a couple of spots. So, yeah. Goals could be coming, but I got to start to see a little bit more urgency from Argentina at this point. But we're on the board, 1-0 at the 18-minute mark. We'll have more for you as in-game live game day continues.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. You know, Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
Stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. You know, this guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. And if you listen closely, that's the sound of money almost changing hands, but not quite there, as we've still have a 1-0 match here. Egypt strikes first against Argentina. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, but there were an awful lot of people very happy as when we went to break there, Craig, during that break, there was a penalty that was given to Egypt, awarded a penalty kick, Argentina, and you know, and I both know who was going to take that penalty kick, and that was Messi. Did not fake anybody out. The goalie makes a nice save, play goes on, and it is still 1-0 right now. Boy, is that a huge, and I mean huge, save by the goaltender of Egypt at this point.
Yeah, and you said guessing. He guessed right, but it definitely looked like Messi was moving in that direction. And so I don't know if that was the tell, but it was an easy block, by the way, Joe. It didn't seem it was all that difficult. But now they pulled a yellow card here, it looks like, on Egypt. And so Egypt, as you said, getting kind of frisky here with a lot of penalties. I don't know. I mean, Egypt's got to be careful here. They're just playing really physical here and almost cost them a goal. And I wonder if things go on, if this is just they're trying to sort of bully their way into the next round, Joe. I guess we'll keep an eye on that.
Maybe they sense a little blood in the water here. Maybe they sense a little some tired legs. You and I were just talking prior to the break how Argentina's last game, that marathon with Cape Verde, that was in our neck of the woods. That was at Miami Stadium. And if you recall, it was 95 with 100% humidity that game. And it was half that. They started the game, half the field was in the sun, half the field wasn't. That was a war in that spot. And I believe Egypt was in Atlanta. And they were indoors. They won their game on penalty kicks, but it's a lot different when you have to play extra time in 73-degree air conditioned. And boy, playing outside at Hard Rock was a different animal here. And it looks like maybe Argentina just a little bit slow at this point.
That's a really fair assessment. I think if you look at the locations left, and certainly New York is one of those locations, and it is hot there, but there's no heat like Miami heat and humidity, which is going on right now. In fact, it's even hotter today, Joe, than it was for that match between Verde and Argentina. There's going to be another match in Miami Saturday afternoon. But as far as open air stadiums are concerned, you think about Seattle, you think about Santa Clara, San Francisco. I mean, those places are generally fine and not sweltering. And maybe you're onto something here. Maybe Argentina's just simply wiped out from that match. It wasn't that long ago. It was only a couple of days ago. And right now they don't look like themselves to start the match. Argentina definitely not. And a product, I think, yes, of Egypt playing well, but maybe even more so a product of Argentina maybe overlooking Egypt a little bit here. That's the way that I feel that it's going.
Interesting here. I mean, listen, we in a couple of different spots, I'm still seeing even money for Argentina in regulation. And they're down 1-0. We're at the hydration break here, the 24-minute mark. But, Egypt's got a goal lead, and they're pretty much 3-1 across the board. They're plus 300 here, Craig, and they have the lead. So interesting here that you're getting spotted a goal and you're getting 3-1 odds. And you and I are both seeing the same thing here. Argentina, they're going to have to dig deep here because certainly I think Egypt looks like the fresher team. Whether, obviously they all played the same amount of games, but they just look to be a little bit more physical, a little fresher, getting to the ball quicker. I'm wondering at 3-1 here, is there any value on Egypt already up a goal at this point?
Yeah, well, I would tell you that they look like the better country right now. I mean, it's not close, but it's still very early, and that's what I would caution people. Also, again, not watching the match. If you're, let's just say hypothetically, no one is watching right now, and you just looked at the score, you would ask yourself, has Egypt dominated this? And then you go back and look, and you say Messi had a penalty kick. They missed an opportunity earlier in the game, and it feels eerily similar to what Spain had yesterday afternoon as well, Joe. And so sometimes if you don't make the most of those opportunities, you could end up losing. I suspect Argentina will post a goal before the half is over. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on still.
I agree. I believe they will. I think it's still plenty of time to go here as in-game live game day continues. right, welcome back in-game live at Game Day here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish, and we have got ourselves, well, a pretty good one here out of the hydration break in the World Cup as Argentina, defending champions right now, taking on Egypt, and Egypt strikes first. 1-0 is what we've got here, and the more time that goes off the clock, well, the better price you can get Argentina for, certainly in regulation. The better price you can get Egypt for. Total was as high as 3.5. It has now come back down after that goal. But boy, it would be good to see if we had some better opportunities. I think for Argentina had obviously the penalty kick that Messi did not convert, and you wonder how many more shots like that they're going to have an opportunity to do. But you brought it up, Greg. They keep playing as aggressive as they are, Egypt, from a physical standpoint. We might get a few more yellow cards and another opportunity.
Yeah, while we were away, Argentina did have a great shot at a goal, by the way, and the goaltender made a stop. So it's not like Argentina is still not forcing the issue. It's just nothing has been going in thus far. But you're right. Egypt is also playing very aggressive at this point. Good to see that up 1-0, they're not just defending. They're trying to score again. Usually when these World Cup matches with teams that play better defense than offense and they go up 1-0, they kind of stop. That's not been the case for Argentina. So as you said, a lot of the odds are now crashing down. Argentina still favored to advance, now about under 200 or about minus 200 still to advance. What does that mean? It means if it goes all the way through and it goes to extra time penalty kicks, the odds makers are still telling us it's going to be Argentina. But you're right, as far as just exiting time and getting to extra time, it does look like a draw is potentially there, because you have to ask yourself, can Argentina score twice? I do think that they're going to score once, absolutely. But do I think they're going to score twice? Still remains to be seen.
Yeah, well, they got another free kick and I'm just curious. I mean, listen, Messi does a lot of things very well, but it is clear the one hole, if he has any in his game, Craig, is penalty kicks. He just does not do them well. He doesn't convert them well for whatever reason. And he did, I think, just hit the post, in fact, on that free kick. So they'll have a corner kick right now. But why not put somebody else in there? Like, they've got guys the record shows they got guys way more capable from a penalty kick situation. Why are we continuing just to roll Messi out? I don't know. Is it just because it's Messi? I mean, even if he's not the best option here?
Joe, I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know how they certainly feel about that. But maybe there is someone better. I'm not sure, but you're right, Joe. It is Messi. I don't know how you take that opportunity away from him, and I think the entire team probably accepts it. That would be my guess.
Well, Portugal had that problem with Ronaldo, who just for some reason kept playing and kept getting the ball and more opportunities to score, which he didn't do yesterday. But I think at least Portugal can move on from now and not have to worry about a 44 or 45-year-old having to be an issue anymore. But he did hit the post on that free kick. That would have been a heck of a goal and a heck of a makeup opportunity there. But again, it's been a matter of, so close for Argentina, and yet Egypt, the one really good shot they had, they converted on. And, doing these games here in this World Cup, Craig, really that is the difference between advancing and going home, is just take advantage of the opportunities when given. Mexico learned that the hard way. They had plenty of opportunities to win that game against England and couldn't get it done. Brazil, same situation. So you got to be careful. You can win all the stats, right? You can win all the stats, the shots on target, expected goal. If you don't convert and close, guess what? Doesn't really matter how many stats you won. There's only one that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, look how many shots Erling Haaland had the last match. Was it 2? And he made both. I mean, that's, when you get to this stage, the best players are probably going to score given their opportunity. And what Messi doesn't want to do is look back, Joe, and say, hey, that penalty kick was the one. Had I made that, we would have tied, or at least maybe would have had an opportunity to win. We don't know the answer to that, but I've seen some, ever since Messi hit that first goal in Miami, he hasn't looked great since then. I think you got to call it what it is. He's had some opportunities and he hasn't scored, but again, long way to play. He's still big minus money to score in the match. And I don't know how you even go against him, because him one-on-one, generally open field against a goaltender, is going to result in Messi posting a goal. But as we stand 34 minutes in, a lot of offensive chances, I think, for Argentina, but just none coming through.
Yep, unreal. And it's, woof. Oh, that was calm. They're playing it on slow motion here. The free kick from about 20 yards out from the goalie, and Messi, he bent it just a little too much to hit the pole there. And boy, that would have been a heck of a goal to tie it up. But here we are, plus 120 in regulation for Argentina, coming up on the 34-minute mark. And it certainly feels like, hey, listen, they are getting it going a little bit better here, I think, Argentina, after the hydration break. But they just make things difficult on themselves. That Cape Verde game should have never been as close as it was. That game was well in hand. They just appear to be one of those teams that refuses to do anything easy, Craig. Everything has got to be the hard way with Argentina. They got to make it. Maybe they're their worst enemy at times, and that's really the truth from what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of this, too, is that, and as you mentioned, the question that you asked earlier when we started about, like, fatigue and sort of where Argentina is. See, I think that's the question that their coach, their manager, is going to have to figure out when they get to the half. We're almost at the half here, about 12, 13 minutes away. And then, obviously, Joe, what they can do is, put in subs. That's still a possibility, yes, because they're going to have players that didn't play in Miami, that didn't have to go through that, if that is a factor. Now, naturally, that's not going to apply for 4 or 5 of the players that are playing on Argentina right now, but maybe simply that's the way that they're going to have to go, is put more of an offensive squad in. But then when they go back and they, look at some of the video from the first half, they're going to probably, Joe, like where they stood offensively and say, hey, we had our shots, we just didn't convert. So this is just one of those unlucky starts, I think, for Argentina at this point, as we, are getting closer, about 10 minutes away from the break.
They have posted on the broadcast that, Messi is 50% in World Cup penalty kicks. He's missed 4 of 8, including both this season. So, again, of all the things he does well, I guess if you're going to look at him when you look back and go, he wasn't a great penalty kicker. It'll be interesting to see if they go someplace different if another one of those comes up here in the game. And I think it will. Certainly it's Messi, whether it's against him or somebody else on his team. I appreciate what Egypt is trying to do here. They're not going to sit back and just let Argentina run all over them here. They are standing up in a big, big way. And you got to appreciate that now from such a big underdog playing with a lead. We've seen a lot of underdogs take early leads, and then they just kind of sat back and let the other team figure it out, and that has not worked out well for them. Not what I'm seeing from this Egypt team, which is actually kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers, and it just showed that Egypt, Joe, has 1 shot on goal, and it was a goal.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
And that's all it required, was just 1 goal off the head for them. So, Joe, they're really not. Maybe this is the time to jump on Argentina, because Egypt is playing well defensively, but they really have done nothing offensively.
Messi with another shot sails over the goal. We'll have more as in-game live game day continues. All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the SportsGrid Network as the World Cup continues. Argentina, the defending champions, taking on Egypt. We're at the 41-minute mark. Egypt up 1-0 right now, but it feels like Argentina just had another great opportunity. But what a save by Egypt's goaltender there, Craig. That's a goal 8 out of every 10 times. That was just a fantastic save. Give credit where credit is due, but that's a couple of, in the last few minutes, that's a couple of tremendous opportunities that Argentina has had. And yet, like you said, Egypt at this point, 42 minutes in, how many shots do they have? One.
They have one on goal, 2 total. Look, yes. I think we have to be fair here. And look, Egypt may, at this point, because we're closing in on it, get to the half without giving up a goal. But, Joe, the story of the second half is going to be hanging on for Egypt. That's all it's going to be at this point. Like, you can clearly see that Argentina are the better squad. You can clearly see they have more talent. You can clearly see that they are way more active around the goal. They just haven't put one in yet. And so is it concerning for Egypt? I don't know. When a goaltender has the game of his life, that changes things. And Cape Verde did the same thing against Argentina, and Argentina came through in the end. So to me, it's just hang on for dear life for Egypt, because I don't know that they're going to score again, but I also don't know that they're going to give up one.
Well, apparently there was another shot on goal you and I must have missed, or at least something they counted as a shot on goal, which I think is kind of crazy. But that's so they do have 2 shots, only one on target, that being Egypt. But 7 total for Argentina at this point, with 3 on target. So we do have ourselves, it's again racking up the stats, but the only thing that matters is what the score is. And right now that score is Egypt 1-0 at the 42-minute mark. And I'm kind of with you, Greg. If not now, when do you jump on Egypt in regulation? Plus 130, 125, 130. I guess you can. It's all a matter of timing. Would you be comfortable saying Egypt can hold on until the break? Because then I think you're going to get a pretty closer to plus 150 here on Argentina, again, to win in regulation, as opposed to any other market.
Yeah, I feel the same way like I did watching Spain play, but I don't know. I'm a little worried that I don't think that Argentina has the same offense that Spain has. So I think this legitimately could be a 1-1 match that goes to extra time and maybe even kicks at the end. I don't know. Like, how many chances is Argentina going to screw up and basically not score a goal? I don't know. I mean, you just talked about the numbers: 7 shots to 2, and 5 of them you probably would say 3 out of 5 should go in. So Argentina could have a few goals. Yeah. So it feels very eerie. It feels exactly like the match we watched yesterday, except for, you're right, there were no goals scored for 90 minutes until Spain scored theirs. In this case, we have Egypt. So I'm still feeling the same way. I think Argentina gets 1. And then the question is, do they get another, or does it go to some sort of miracle finish, which is certainly possible?
Yeah, it's this is going to be fun. I tell you that. Looks like we got another free kick coming here from Argentina. And again, based upon what we have seen from a physicality standpoint, Egypt certainly has got they're not going to be pushed around here. They are certainly taking some chances with the physicality, but it does appear that, I guess when Messi is on the pitch, right, there are some guys like in the NBA that will just get the benefit of the doubt, right? There are guys in Major League Baseball that should have been a strike, but maybe the umpire gives it to him. It feels like, Messi's at that level here where if we're going to get physical with anybody, it best not be Messi at this point, right?
Yeah, definitely so. And then that the players are going to rally around that. You got to be careful. It's almost, the same narrative that was going on last night with Belgium. It was like Belgium took that red card situation Personally, at least it felt like that watching Belgium play. I mean, they just dominated Team USA in every facet. And so you don't want to do that to Messi, who is arguably the greatest soccer player, or one of them of all time. All of a sudden you knock him down, then everybody on Argentina starts rallying around. Not to say that you don't want to play physical, but yeah, you got to be careful. It's like waking up Michael Jordan back in the day. I don't know that you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you want to do that at all here, but Egypt is trying to hold on here at the 45-minute mark. It looks like we've got 5 minutes of extra time to play. So around 15 minutes here in the first half. Again, 1-0, and we are creeping up closer to that 140, maybe 135, 140 mark here for Argentina still to come back and get this in regulation here. But the total was also interesting. 2.5. It's not terrible to the under, but if Argentina is going to come back and win in regulation, they're going to need 2 goals, right? So are we looking at an under here, Craig, at this point, if we make it through a half with no scoring?
No, because the overs have been coming in a lot in the second half, pretty much every time. You know, lots of goals are being scored. Last night, you called it more goals in the first half, but truthfully, in the end, there was a total of 5. So you could make the case for both halves having a lot of scoring. But I mean, I definitely see Argentina with 1 in the second half. It wouldn't shock me to see them with another in the second half as well. The fact remains, Joe, they have been just so dominant throughout this first half of the match. And Egypt has taken 2 shots and made 1, and that's it. And they lead. Soccer is so funny sometimes. That's what we're dealing with today.
It really is. It did. Like the guy taking the no-hitter. Let me throw this at you.
If Egypt, if the score was 0-0 right now, you would be pounding Argentina. You would be like, oh my gosh, there's no... I mean, like, from watching this, you'd be like, Egypt has no shot whatsoever if just that one goal didn't go in off the head. So I don't think you want to change your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's coming. It's just not, and I still feel it's not if, it's just a matter of when the goals start coming for Argentina at this point. But right now, in a couple of more minutes, we've got you covered, though, as in-game live game day continues on the grid. right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish here, and we have got ourselves a 1-0 game as we are approaching. There was another injury there, Craig. Looked like we still got a little extra time here before the break, but the bottom line is 1-0. Argentina was a big $3 and change favorite here. Now they're about plus 150 as we'll get ready to have a second half. You will leave us here, but before you do, I'm looking for a little love here with Colombia and Switzerland. Higher scoring game, no scoring game tonight. What are you thinking the second one coming up?
Oh, yeah, definitely a higher scoring game than this. Yeah, I listen, every indicator says 3-2, 4-3. Yeah, I think this could be one of the highest scoring games of any of the ones remaining. So, yeah, I think there's a really good shot at that. Both teams play offense. They don't have anyone in particular, like one player that's outstanding, but they definitely put goals on the board. So, I'll predict a 2-2 draw and tie until they get more time in. And we must be headed toward halftime. Like by the way, do they, I guess they don't add extra time to extra time if somebody's, because there was no extra time, Joe. There was an injury for the whole extra time. So I guess they don't add time on to that. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. That's why we're headed toward the half. But 1-0. Yeah, 1-0 right now as it stands here. And Argentina, are they freaking out a little bit? I don't think so. I mean, all they got to do is sit down, just hit rewind on the tape, go to their phones, pull up the highlights and say, how did we miss this? How did we miss this? How did we miss this? How did Messi miss this? That's basically been the story of the first half. And then one goal for Egypt. So listen, the story today, it's one of two things. Either Egypt just comes back and wins, or it's the single best performance from any goaltender in the World Cup thus far with this guy in Egypt. I mean, it's one of the two that's coming here in the second half.
Yeah, it's the story is that when they've had opportunities, namely, obviously, another missed penalty kick by Messi in this World Cup, but it doesn't feel like they have the same kind of consistent pressure that we've seen them apply in past matches here. It feels like, yes, they've had spurts of opportunities. They have not been able to cash in, but give Egypt credit. I mean, they've weathered some storms here, but they've also spent some time there in Egypt's in Argentina's end that we did not see it coming. So if you were a betting man, is this thing going to go to extra time, maybe penalty kicks again?
Maybe, but I still think Argentina wins 2-1. I still think that's that was kind of what I thought going in. It's still what I think right now. I'm not going to pivot off that. More goals scored in the second half. Could it be possible that Egypt scores? Yes, but to your point, yes. In terms of statistically, Egypt did spend a lot of time on the side of Argentina, but they really didn't get a lot of shots off, Joe. They really did not. You know, so no. I can't do it. This is very similar to a lot of the matches that we've seen where the better team takes over in the second half. So that's the direction I'm going to go. I think Argentina advances.
Yeah, it's and right now you've got Egypt sitting there. It's like a team that strikes out 17 times in a game, but hits 3 home runs and they win. And that's kind of exactly what that's kind of what Egypt is doing right now. They're swinging and missing a lot. But you know what? They hit the shot that matters, and that's why they're up 1-0. Now, whether they can continue that remains to be seen here. But this is just game one of 2 games coming up here today. Craig and I both on Colombia and Switzerland to go up and over, although a lot of people felt Colombia was a dark horse heading in, and they have proved to be a pretty tough squad here, but I just don't know there's going to be enough defense to be played there. May the best team win, but Egypt and Argentina should be a heck of a second half in Atlanta here. Before we get you out of here, Craig, now that you've seen everybody play at this point, is France still the team to beat in your opinion?
I got Spain. No, I got Spain. I think they're playing with angels, the wings on the back of their jerseys here. I don't know. I don't think we've seen the best from them. They've been the fastest team for me. I don't know who's going to end up on the other side, but The best player that I see going right now is Erling Haaland. Like, to me, that is the most dangerous player, but I think the most dangerous team is Spain.
They might have the best goalie left here, too, in the competition, Norway. So, Craig, we will see you again. In the meantime, we've got another hour to go. Here is In Game Live. Game Day continues.